You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borth. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Monday, 10th day of February, 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first broadcast, that is private. It's our live training room. So that's reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial yet, when Michael joins us in a bit, he'll walk you through step by step. He'll show you on the screen how to take the trial. We'll get your indicators up and running today. Your trial will officially start tomorrow, but you'll still get 5 consecutive trading days as part of your free trial. There's no credit card required. We want you to be able to make a well-informed and intelligent decision at the end of your trial, whether or not what we do is right for you. So the focus is on what you're learning, not whatever it might cost you to take the trial. There's no cost, no credit card, none of that. Okay? Now, when the live training room ends each day, we take a 30-minute break and come back for the afternoon broadcast, this broadcast, which is open to the public. Everybody everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Now, there's 2 different ways to join this afternoon broadcast live. The best way, I'll give it to you first. You only have to do it once. Go to mytradingiq.com. Scroll down the page to where it says Noon Broadcast. Click the link. Fill out the 30-second registration form, and you're done. What will happen going forward is every trading day, about an hour before this broadcast starts, you'll get an email. In the email, there will be a link. So at 12 noon Eastern, all you have to do is click the link in the email. It will automatically log you into our platform. The benefit there is you'll have access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. Of course, there'll be days you're out of the office, away from your desktop, but still want to join live. And there'll be days when you're busy, can't join live, but want to get caught up later. You can do both of those via our YouTube channel, which is easy to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. Not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, as we're doing right now, simulcasting, but we also archive each and every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,700 daily episodes archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. youtube.com/CFRN. And if you're new to the world of CFRN, it's a great way to get to know who we really are. Thanks to the power of YouTube, you can scroll back 6 days, 6 weeks, 6 months, 6 years, even more. Obviously, you're not going to watch them all, but just poke around. You'll see how we've evolved over the years, from whence we began to where we are right now. It's all there. Matter of public record. youtube.com/CFRN. Our daily schedule for the afternoon broadcast, as you can see, is right here. Now we're starting a new devotional topic today. Overcoming fear, worry, and anxiety. Chances are you're dealing with one of them. No matter what your age, no matter what your status in life, the big three. Today's scriptures, Hebrews 2, verses 14 through 15. I'm going to share with you from the Message translation. Since the children are made of flesh and blood, it's logical that the Savior took on flesh and blood in order to rescue them by his death. By embracing death, taking it into himself, he destroyed the enemy's hold on death and freed all who cower through life, scared to death of death. Again, Hebrews 2, verses 14 through 15. So we'll be on this topic for 7 days. Today, you're not alone. Fear is incredibly powerful, right? It can wipe out your memory, cause your heart to pound. In fact, it can paralyze you. In the next few days together, we'll be looking at our fears and anxieties, from the grand humiliations to the nagging little anxieties that dance like specters around the edges of our thoughts. Fear and worry can be overwhelming, but again, you're not alone. In fact, that's exactly what the Bible teaches. In 1 Corinthians 10:13, no temptation has overtaken you, but such as is common to man. The fears we face really aren't all that unique. This verse teaches that we're all pretty much in the same boat. Although the focus and intensity of our fears may be different, every person who has ever lived has had to struggle against them. Perhaps, from your perspective, it doesn't seem that way. But even those who appear to be the bravest among us have had to overcome fear. In the next few days, we'll be looking at passages in Scripture that show how God meets us in our fears and anxieties and shows us the true way to overcome them. Now, day 2 and 3 will cover two stories in the Bible, the story of Moses and the parable of the talents, that show examples of biblical characters who struggled with fear and anxiety just like we do today. Day 4 will talk about fearing others. We'll use John 12 and a look at how the Bible helps us when we find ourselves fearing others out of a need for their approval and where our true approval comes from. Day 5 will be therefore, do not worry. We'll be in Matthew 6. It's an exploration on how God cares for all of our needs and how faith in His good character can help us fear less. And day 6, He loved us first. We'll be in 1 John 4, a reflection on the enduring nature of God, his love, and how a relationship built on love casts out all fear. In order to overcome fear, we need someone who is stronger than our fears. Jesus Christ is that someone. He's the only one who intimately knows all our thoughts and fears. He's the only one who is able to deliver us. The Bible teaches that one reason he left heaven and came to earth was to deliver those who through fear have been living all their lives as slaves to constant dread. Hebrews 2:15. So why not begin your journey through these devotionals by asking God to help you put your trust in him? After all, he's the only one who has ever conquered fear and death, and he's the only one who can transform you. He's the heart changer, and he's more interested in freeing you than you could possibly know. Something to reflect on. Ask God to help you put your trust in him and in his Son, Jesus, throughout this devotional. Recognize his presence with you right now, assuring you that you are never alone. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for sending Jesus to share in our humanity, to conquer the power of death, and to set us free from fear. Through his victory, we no longer live in bondage, but in the hope of eternal life. Help us to walk in faith, trusting in your power and love, knowing that we are secure in Christ. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, amen. Amen and happy Monday. Let me give you the numbers from around the world. We'll start in the U.S. with the cash markets. The indices. Data loading slow. Here it comes. Okay. Currently the Dow's up 5 points. The NASDAQ is up 182. Almost 1%. S&P 500 is up 26, and the Russell 2000 is up 9. In the commodity basket, crude oil up $1.48, trading 72.47 last. That's a gain of a little over 2%, or $1,470 per contract traded. Gold up $41.60, putting in a new all-time historic high, trading 29.29 last. That's a gain of almost 1.5%. Silver up 2 cents, trading 32.46 last. In the Asian markets at the close, the Nikkei posted a gain of 14 points. Shanghai rose 18. The Hang Seng gained 388. And for the Hang Seng, that's almost 2%. In the European markets at the close, FTSE up 67. The DAX up 124. The CAC up 33. So we had a green day in Asia. It was a green day for the UK. And at the moment, it is a green Radio Monday here in the US of A. The Dow is only 6 points into the green. So keep an eye on the Dow. If the Dow starts to falter, we may see some of the other markets falter. The NASDAQ, of course, is the strongest of the bunch, up almost 1%. So let's take a look at the news. Of course, everyone knows the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl last night, beating the Kansas City Chiefs 40-22 in a dominating defensive showing. The victory marks the second Super Bowl title in franchise history and avenges a 2022 championship loss to the Chiefs, while ending Kansas City's bid to become the first team ever in NFL history to win 3 straight Super Bowls. The Eagles swarmed Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes all night, forcing 4 turnovers, including an interception return for a touchdown by defensive back Cooper DeJean. Mahomes was sacked 6 times. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was able to catch part of it. Man, I felt sorry for that guy. As soon as they would snap the ball to him, he just got crushed. It was sad to see. And Patrick's a very outspoken Christian. And the offense managed a meager 23 yards and a single first down in the first half. Kansas City didn't score until 34 seconds left in the third quarter. At the time, they were down 34-0. Philadelphia quarterback Jalen Hurts was named Super Bowl MVP, throwing for 221 yards and 2 touchdowns, while adding 72 yards and another score on the ground. I hear the president left early because it got boring. I don't know if that's true or not. Well, it's time to talk about eggflation. The cost of eggs continues to hit record highs in the U.S., with data from the USDA showing wholesale prices above $7.30 for a dozen large white eggs. The figure is up from around $5 at the beginning of the year, and almost 3 times as much year over year. Of course, it's all Trump's fault. But the truth of the matter is the ongoing bird flu outbreak. Close to 70 million chickens have been culled since early 2024. The spiraling costs have caused many vendors to enact temporary policies to account for cost. Waffle House added a 50-cent per egg surcharge last week, and Trader Joe's announced a 1 dozen per customer limit nationwide on Friday. Last week, a variant of the H5N1 influenza virus that has been identified in human cases was found circulating in dairy cow herds. To date, health officials say the risk to the public is low and human-to-human transmission is rare. The U.S. has recorded 67 confirmed cases and 1 death from the current outbreak. Israeli troops yesterday withdrew from a 4-mile strip, the Netzarim corridor, that divides northern and southern Gaza as part of a ceasefire agreement with Hamas. Israeli forces are now limited to a southern area near Egypt's border and a buffer zone along the Israeli border to the north and east. The ceasefire began January 19th and is in its 42-day phase. Hamas has been gradually releasing hostages in exchange for Palestinians held in Israeli prisons. So far, 16 hostages have been freed, including 3 more over the weekend, in exchange for 566 Palestinian prisoners. Yeah, it's hard to get over that. We'll take 16 and give you 566. Negotiations for the second phase are underway in Qatar to extend the truce and secure the release of more hostages. However, challenges remain over differing demands for a long-term agreement. Separately, neighboring Lebanon formed its first full government in over 2 years, marking a shift away from Hezbollah's influence and aiming to address the country's economic crisis and rebuild war-torn areas. Well, that's the world news. Let's take a look at Wall Street. Donald Trump's rapid reorientation of the U.S. trade landscape has a busy week ahead, and he could simultaneously make moves on 3 fronts as importers, CEOs, and foreign leaders struggle to adjust. The uncertainty has been heightened as crucial details remain unclear, but with the president promising highly detailed announcements in the next few days. Up first this week is a newly announced plan for 25% duties on steel and aluminum, which Trump told reporters Sunday would be announced today. The president is set to sign new executive orders at 1 p.m. Eastern, about 45 minutes from now, and he said his tariff plans will apply to all imports. However, it remains to be seen how these new duties overlap with existing metal tariffs. Coming later in the week are Trump promised reciprocal tariffs, which he said will be official on Tuesday or Wednesday and are designed to equalize trade imbalances around the world. Open questions there linger on how they could be implemented and what it all could mean for countries that currently charge the U.S. low tariffs. Those moves this week come amid an ongoing trade war with China over issues of illegal drugs and migration that escalated over the weekend and could soon include Canada and Mexico. This is the next 4 years, according to Doug Ford, the Premier of the Canadian province of Ontario. Ford called Trump's pronouncements this past weekend the latest in shifting goalposts and constant chaos, putting our economy at risk. Canada is a key nation caught up in the crosscurrents, with blanket duties looming, and the country also a major provider of steel to the U.S. The next front expected in the coming hours is the formal announcement of new steel and aluminum tariffs. The question is how they will interact with current duties. In 2018, Trump moved to impose 25% tariffs on steel and 10% duties on aluminum during his first term. China was a main target then, and many of those tariffs remain in place. It is unclear whether the nation will now face double tariffs. A range of other nations, from South Korea to Australia and many more, secured steel exemptions last time around, but Trump sounds much less open to carve-outs this time. Trump said on Sunday any steel coming into the United States is going to have a 25% tariff. Another question is timing. If Trump moves on metal under the same authority he invoked in 2018, he could face a wait of at least a few weeks or months before the tariffs will fully be in place because of requirements like a public comment period. So he's moving on. He's doing what he said he was going to do. And, sometimes progress hurts. Meanwhile, billionaire Elon Musk suggested in a series of social media posts this past weekend that the Federal Reserve should undergo closer scrutiny, making the comments just days before Fed Chair Jerome Powell is scheduled to testify on Capitol Hill. Well, in Thomas Jefferson's opinion, and my opinion, and perhaps many of yours, the Federal Reserve should have never existed to start with. As you all know, it has nothing to do with our government. It is a private corporation. People hear Federal Reserve and they think, well, that's the government. Well, think about FedEx. Yeah, it's not. If you haven't read The Creature from Jekyll Island, Google it, read it, and if you don't already know, it will forever change how you view the fact that America is $35 trillion in debt. Musk, who is already just tearing Washington apart, it seems, as head of the Department of Government Efficiency, said in one post on X Sunday that all aspects of the government must be fully transparent and accountable to the people. No exceptions, including, if not especially, the Federal Reserve. It came in reaction to a post from another X user who argued that the Fed has never had a full audit or a full disclosure of monetary policy decisions. He also responded to a post from another X user stating that Musk was considering tapping 89-year-old former Congressman Ron Paul to head an audit of the Fed. Musk's response, that would be great. Paul, while in Congress, was well known for pushing for an audit of the Fed. So if everybody's been pushing for it and everybody thinks it's a good idea, then why hasn't it ever happened? Musk even reacted to a Fed-related post from current U.S. Senator Mike Lee, who said, "Raise your hand if you'd like to see Ron Paul as a chair of the Federal Reserve." Musk stated, "That would be amazing." Yet it would. President Trump's newly installed chief of the U.S. Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, also known as the CFPB, told all of the agency's staff Monday, today, to stay away from the office and do no work. Now, this is according to an email reviewed by Reuters. The move, which followed a weekend decision to shutter the agency's Washington headquarters, idled a federal agency of nearly 2,000 workers entrusted with enforcing consumer financial laws nationwide. You know, sometimes you buy a property and you can renovate it, and other times you buy a property and as you get in there and you really start kicking the floorboards and looking at the roof, you realize it's a teardown. Looks like that's what we've got on our hands, a teardown. Acting CFPB director said in an email to all staff, employees should not come into the office. Please don't do any work. Well, that's kind of the problem. They haven't been doing any work. The move underscored tumult at the federal regulators since Vaught, a longtime budget hawk and architect of the right-wing policy manifesto known as Project 2025, which called for the CFPB's abolition, took control of the agency on Friday. The Trump administration's efforts to neutralize the agency escalated rapidly over the weekend as billionaire Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency gained full access to CFPB computer systems, and Vaught ordered a stop to all oversight of consumer financial companies. Musk has publicly vowed to destroy the CFPB. The agency could otherwise regulate one of his planned business ventures with payments giant Visa. It's a mess. And Elizabeth Warren just won't stop screaming. Maxine Waters won't stop screaming. Man, I felt so sorry for that guy at the door of the Department of Education the other day. Got to give him credit. With all those people and all those microphones shoved in his face and people just screaming and blah, blah, blah. Everything I saw, he kept us cool. So, I don't know who he is, who he works for. Apparently he works for Trump. In what capacity, I'm not sure. But it was quite a sight. An embarrassing stain. Stanford, Harvard, and other top research universities warned of the potential hit to medical care and scientific innovation from the Trump administration's cut to a type of federal funding from the National Institutes of Health that's set to go into effect today. At stake is the money universities can get reimbursed from the expenses such as laboratory buildings, equipment, and staff, known as indirect costs. NIH said the rate cut would be about 15%, while some universities currently receive more than 50%. Stanford said the change will create a reduction in NIH funding of approximately $160 million per year. Well, you know, Harvard's not exactly broke. Neither is Stanford. You should all take a careful look at just how big their trust funds are. We're talking in the billions of dollars. So, I mean, the price it costs to go to Harvard, that alone should be enough to pay for whatever it is they need. But they've got this trust fund that just keeps blooming and blooming and growing. Gold surged above $2,900 to a new record today as escalated tariff threats spurred buying, and Wall Street analysts remain bullish on the safe haven asset. Gold futures climbed more than 1.6% to roughly $2,935 after hitting all-time highs last week. We had day after day of new highs last week. Oil, on the other hand, rose on signs of shrinking Russian crude flows, but nevertheless held near the lowest levels of the year as President Trump's tariff plans continue to weigh on sentiment. West Texas Intermediate traded near $72 a barrel following the longest losing streak since September. Russian oil production last month fell short of its OPEC quota, easing concerns of oversupply, while a Politico report on European plans to seize the nation's shadow fleet also supported futures. Meanwhile, natural gas prices in Europe reached a 2-year high, incentivizing the burning of oil for power. Crude prices have tumbled 10% since their January high, as Trump's threats to levy imports from Canada, Mexico, and China triggered the longest losing streak since September. Hedge funds have dumped bullish WTI bets for the last 2 weeks while raising short positions to the highest in 2 months. The U.S. president again flagged more tariffs yesterday. We already talked about that. Aluminum and steel. The duties could ripple through the U.S. energy industry, including oil drillers, which are reliant on specialty steel that's not made in the country. He didn't specify when the levies would start. Chinese tariffs on U.S. goods are set to start today in retaliation against Trump's levies that took effect last week. And last but not least, Google. Make room for yet another partnership on AI, Current AI, which is being billed as a public interest initiative focused on fostering and steering development of artificial intelligence in societally beneficial directions, was announced at the French AI Action Summit today, with an initial $400 million in pledges from backers and a plan to pull in $2.5 billion over the next 5 years. Such figures might seem like small beer when it comes to AI investment, with the French president fresh from trumpeting a private support package worth around $112 billion, which itself pales beside U.S. investments aiming to accelerate the tech. But the partnership is not focused on compute, so its backers believe such relatively modest sums will still be able to make a difference in key areas where AI could make a critical difference to advancing the public interest, whether in AI, for healthcare, or supporting climate goals. You know, you don't ever hear that term global warming anymore. Now it's just climate change. Under the top line focus, is there anything in the world that hasn't changed since the beginning of the world? Well, I guess God hasn't. But everything else has changed. Why not climate? I think God's got it under control. Yes, we'll find out. Or the next generation, or the next generation. Somebody will figure it out. Somewhere. All right. I did not put out any Logic 247 alerts last night. There was the ball game. I didn't like the way the market looked when it opened. Did put out the CTAs though. Last week, Logic 247, we ended up with a total of 30 alerts, and I think 4 or 12% were stopped out. Over the last 300 and I don't have it in front of me weeks, we've issued over 18,900 individual handcrafted alerts. Put a couple out this morning, nothing big. So to see what this week's going to look like. We've got a lot of big news events coming, so we'll see. So even though we only had a total of 30 actionable alerts last week, the outcome was satisfactory. What we've averaged over the last 300 and I think it's 40 something weeks is 20% or less being stopped out based on market structure and a simple process we teach all of our passport holders in their one-on-one mentoring sessions. Now the Logic alerts, they have an entry price, an initial target, quite often additional targets, and then a final trade to target. Those alerts can come out anytime around the clock, 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. Futures trade around the clock. We have traders around the globe. Our day session is our night session, and vice versa. But the CTAs don't come out around the clock. They're published as a static report shortly after the Globex open each evening. So it looks like we got them out last night, 10 minutes after the open. Okay. Now, if you're a member or trial member, you want to read this information. Make sure you understand it. If you have any questions, ask. So 10 minutes after the open last night, all of our members and trial members had all of these targets: the S&P, the Dow, the Russell, crude oil, the NQ, gold, and silver. So let's go take a look at the chart and see where we are on this fine Monday. S&P Emini futures daily chart. Now, we talked about up here where blue and climbing became red and falling, and as we know, when blue and climbing gets directly above price, it's often on its way to becoming red and falling. Blue and climbing, obviously bearish. Red and falling, blue and climbing bullish, red and falling bearish. And so that's what we talked about the last couple days, is can price trade through and close above red and falling, or is red and falling ultimately going to take price back below the BBC? The green line is called the BBC. It just stands for bull bear cross. When price crosses above the green line, we're bullish and expect higher prices. When price crosses below the green line, we're bearish and expect lower prices. So how we close today could be very important. We've got a little tiny doji here. Resistance at red and falling. Support at the black step line. And then support at the daily BBC. Whether you trade futures, stock, crypto, Forex, ETFs, I encourage you to spend 2 minutes with the daily chart of whatever you're going to trade, just to get the big picture view. Institutional traders, the ones who, due to their account size, actually move price, they look at daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I look at 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Has everything to do with account size. So, by spending 2 minutes before you start trading, you're able to see what the deep pockets are up to. And you can see that a doji represents indecision, so they don't know whether to be long or be short. Okay? And look where we closed on Friday. We came all the way down to the step line, and then we managed to close back up after spiking red and falling. We closed right at it. And this is all that's happened since the market opened last night. Pretty flat, pretty sideways. So as we go to the 30-minute charts, you'll see. Now, the vertical line separates today Monday, back here's Friday, back here's Thursday. We could go on, okay? Now, any alert that goes out on Sunday night is based on the previous week's weekly trading zones. The new zones, that's these, the horizontal lines, come out Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. Once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. They don't change in any way whatsoever. This initial candle last night, we gapped lower on the open. See, this is where we closed Friday, right here. On the open last night, we gapped all the way down here. And that's why I put the short target below this, because this all happened in the blink of an eye. Okay, so we rallied back up to the BBC, consolidated overnight for hours. Now here's the London Open, about 4 a.m. Market started to move higher. We got blue and climbing. So we had red and falling here for a bit, and that turned to blue and climbing. So we anticipate higher prices. And it did take us up to the weekly zone at 60.88/89. We came shy of hitting the target. We hit 60.94 half. Now we've pulled back to the BBC. The pullback to the BBC holds more often than it doesn't. So right now we're sitting on top of support, but we've got resistance times 2 right overhead. The step line and blue and climbing just turned to red and falling. That's an indication that we could see substantially lower prices. Keep in mind this area right here, very important, about 60, 64. Whenever you have a bullish cross, that's when the blue line gets above the green line. When you have a bullish cross that leads to an extended move, the first time price revisits that area will almost always be good support. So you want to let price take out this low, and then you got some pretty good room down to this area. And if on the second attempt we manage to trade through this area, this is last week's zones, because these alerts went out last night. Tomorrow afternoon on the broadcast, this week's zones. Members and trial members already have the new weekly zones, and they'll be on my charts tomorrow during the afternoon broadcast. So we rallied, and then we just kind of wide-ranging consolidation here for the last few hours. On the Dow, the same thing happened. We gapped all the way down to here. We continued on to here. And then we rallied all the way back up to here. And it happened in just like a matter of minutes. We consolidated along the weekly zone. And then at 4 o'clock, just like the ES, we began a rally. But we never made it to the long target, but we made it far enough to get your goal for the day. Now this high right here is 44,734. Over here is 44,746. 746, 734. So failure to take out that high is a sign of weakness, and that sent price at the 9:30 open today on Wall Street all the way back down to last week's zone. Spiked it, but it held. We hit it again. We found resistance at the BBC once, twice. Now we've traded below last week's zone, and we're in the process of getting a bearish cross right here. That's when the red line crosses below the green line. From 44,445 to 44,425. That little area right there would be sufficient to get your goal for the day. We're up against resistance. This candle is probably going to shrink, and we got to expect potential support here, and then again here. All right, on the Russell. Sideways, very quiet. Another big drop at the open, dropped to here, opened here, continued lower, and then rallied all the way back up to the BBC. Consolidated for hours, got to the weekly zone, consolidated there, and then at the Wall Street Open, we didn't get much movement. It is the biggest candle. This may be the biggest candle of the session. Typically, this candle is the biggest candle of the session. But price has pulled back up. We've overcome red and falling. That's a little unusual, the way this is coming together. So if we don't find resistance at this area, then by the close of business today, we could be back up at 2308 or 2315. The NQ did the same thing, opened way down here, dropped exactly to the zone from last week, and then took off. All the way up to the zone overhead where we consolidated for hours. We got a leg and a retracement, a leg and a retracement, and then we got a leg that took us all the way up to the long target. And now we're just doing some wide-ranging consolidation. We had a bearish cross right here. Okay, price actually traded through it. So it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it certainly happens more often than not. This was the 10 o'clock candle. And so now price has pulled back to the top of the long target. And when we trade through a target like that and price pulls back, in this case, because it's a long target, that's potentially good support. So we'll be watching to see if we can take out this high. If we can, then be aware of this high from Friday, and then this high from Friday. I mean, this whole area right here is ripe with opportunity. But price has to prove itself first. Okay. Now the step line is in the process of crossing blue and climbing. If that happens, high probability that we'll get a pullback to the BBC. If we continue to consolidate sideways, then the BBC will rise to meet price. Crude oil. This was the open last night. This looks a little more normal. We had blue and climbing, and it took us right up to the target, end of the zone, where we consolidated for hours. When price rallies up to a zone, we expect resistance. When it drops to a zone, we expect support until proven otherwise. When price encounters a weekly zone, one of three things happens. 70% of the time is consolidation. 20% of the time is rejection. 10% of the time, the slice. That's when a 30-minute candle slices through a zone like it's not even there. All right, we're all the way to gold. Michael's here, so he's going to give us a recap of what happened this morning in the live training room. Then we'll do some live trading on TradingView, and then I'll come back. I'll finish up that recap, and we'll wrap things up with our good word for the day.
Excellent. All right, here we go. I am ready.
Yep, looks good.
Good. All right. So, good afternoon, everyone. Today is Monday, the 10th day of February, 2025. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us and you want to, go here to mytradingIQ.com. Right here, it says sign up for your free 5-day training now. The purple button. Click on that. There is no credit card required for the trial. Click on that. It's going to bring you to this page right here. Now, on this page, this is not the page it's going to bring you to. It's going to bring you to this page right here. On this page, all the way else, is your name, your email, and your phone number. This isn't exactly the right page either, but it's what the page looks like. All we ask for is your name, your email, and your phone number. There's multiple choice questions. Please answer those honestly. Down here, if you have NinjaTrader, give us your machine ID if you want to use Ninja Charts. And if you have TradingView, give us your TradingView login ID. All right. We don't need your password. We just need the username or login ID that you're assigned. You really want to get TradingView because that is the only one that we have these indicators on, these guys down here. All right. So you really want to get TradingView for that. All right. Now, let's see. We have this spreadsheet. There it is. Okay. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you have to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today, as I said, is the 10th day of February 2025. We're up 72 ticks on the NQ, minus 15 on the Russell, plus 52 on gold, and plus 27 on the ES this morning. Right, that put us at $1,142 per contract. Today I took 9 minutes and one trade to get to $1,800. I had a little mix up this morning getting stuff. Well, wasn't so much getting stuff ready, but had a little household mix up. But 9 minutes and one trade to get to $1,800 with 10 contracts on, and we took a total of 17 trades. So on the month now, we're at $5,430 with one contract over 4 business days, averaging $1,357 per contract per 2-hour business day. What do we average last month at the end of the month? 1,608 at the end of last month. We had an awesome month last month. This month we probably won't get that well because we only have a limited number of days this month. Matter of fact, I missed a couple last week, and we have 14 more business days this month. So yeah, I wouldn't expect it to be as anywhere near what last month was, but we'll see. I could have 14 $3,000 days and it'd be more than last month. Who knows? Anyway, we're at $1,142 per contract this morning. On the year now, we're averaging $1,566 per morning session. And this is with one contract on, guys. I have 10 contracts on, so just move that decimal point over one place. That's where you want to be eventually. Following the 24/20 blueprint, if you were to quit trading when you get the goal for the day and add one contract per month, so far this year, you only had to work 3.65 hours. And you would, in 3.65 hours, if you quit trading when you got your goal for the day and you added one contract per month, you'd be trading 2 contracts right now. So far this year, you'd be up $5,230. All right. Quitting trading when you get the goal for the day, and you would have averaged $1,432 per hour because you would have only had to trade 3.65 hours. All right. And that is that. So let's get into the actual trades now. We had not too many. I mean, we didn't have too many trades overall, so I guess we'll go over every trade, right? On the gold today, we had our first trade was here. We had a plus 10. Then we had a plus 8 to get us to 18. Then we had a plus 10 to get us to 28. Then we had a plus 10 to get us to 38. Then we had a plus 4 to get us to 52. Then looks like there was a long trade right here, right at the end of the session, I think, wasn't it? Yeah, right there at the end of the session. That ended up, it probably would have ended up stopping you out right there. It would have been a stop out to the tick, it looks like. And right here, another one. And right here, you could have gotten some profit out of that or break even. And then a nice trade right there. A nice trade right there. A nice, wait a minute, it would have been that bar right there. That would have stopped you out to the tick. This one would have eventually stopped you out. It would have been a long stop out right there. So the gold didn't do so well after the morning session. It did great while we were in there in the morning session, but not so well afterward. The Russell, we only had one stop out and one plus 10 this morning. Those are all the trades that we took on the Russell. There weren't a ton of trades in there this morning. You can see the whole day is right here on the Russell. This is the whole day. So there's this one right here that I missed right at the open. Then I guess it was this one right here that I missed. This one right here that I took and stopped out on. This one right here that I took and got a little profit. And that was it. There was one more right here at the end of the session. If you shorted the open of this bar, it would eventually stopped you out. And there was a long over here at the open of this bar that would have eventually worked out for you. This is during the break. A short here, that would have been a break even. And that was it on the Russell. Now on the ES, we ended up with plus 27. I think we did have a stop out in there somewhere, didn't we? We did. On the ES, we started out right here with a plus 4. Okay, then we added 10 to go to plus 14. Then we added another 12 to go to 26, then 10 more to go to 36. Then we stopped out down to 26, and we got a plus 1 to 27. I don't feel like we missed too much here on the ES today. We didn't really. We missed a no. Yeah, we missed a long trade right here that would have given us a break even had we taken it. And did I get that? No, there was a long trade right there that went 6 or 8 ticks into profit. Looks like a long trade right here. We did get that. We got 1 tick profit out of that. And during the break, a long trade here that probably would have stopped out. A short trade here. That's tough because I don't know if that pulled back 10 ticks or not before it went down. That would have been a tough one. You would have had this right here was a nice profitable trade. This here was a nice profitable trade. Right there, nice profitable trade. Right there, nice profitable trade. So you had 3 nice ones and a couple that were kind of close calls. That was the ES today. Now the NQ. Well, we didn't have much on the NQ. This is the whole day on the NQ. And how often can we see that the whole day in one screenshot like this? Not very often. So we got the first trade here on the NQ. That's where we got the goal today. We got 36 ticks on that. Then we got 20 ticks here. Not 20. We have something there to bring us to 52, whatever that is. And then we got 20 ticks here to bring us to 72. And a break even there. Now, there were, it's a borderline trade right there. May or may not have taken. There would have been a long from right here. That would have been a break even right about there. There would have been a long from right here. That would have been a nice trade. A long from right here. 52.50 up to 60. 52.50 up to 60. So that would have been a break-even trade right in there. I need 5 points, so that would have been a break-even trade right in there. And that was it. That was all that there was today. So, does anybody have any questions about anything? Let me bring this up here, see if there were any questions. I don't see a single question. It's now 1:04, so we can start trading a little bit in here. We'll see what happens. Now, you know, I don't know who's in here right now. Let me go back and look. All right, so what I wanted to point out to you was this. You know, when we're doing these trades down here, whether you're trading with the trend, counter trend, no matter what you're doing, all the stuff that we've always said about the leg lengths, you know, which is usually my Wednesday lesson plan, that all still applies. That's always going to apply, no matter what trade setup you're looking at. Okay, you can be looking at the markets with nothing on it, right? You have no indicators at all down here, no indicators up there, none down here, and the market is still going to do the same thing. Okay, it doesn't matter what time frame you're looking at. We're looking right here at a 7 range, but you can make that a 30-minute, and the market is still going to do the same thing. What's that thing? They're going to go up and down, right? They're going to go like this. They're going to go up, then they go down, then they go up, then they go down, then they go up, and then they go down deeper, and then they go up and not make a new high, and go down, not make a new high, and get some chop, and then make a new low, and go up and make a new high. That's a whip. Then get right back in the middle of it all and not do anything, right? And then make a big move down with a move up, and a big move down with a move up, and then consolidate all through here, and then make an attempt to move up with a pullback and a move up, and a pullback and a move up. It's always the same, right? No matter what trade setup you're using, it's always going to be doing the same thing. So if you know the markets are always going to be doing the same thing, they're always going to be going up, and they're going to retrace, and they're going to go up, and they're going to retrace. And then when they go up again, if they don't exceed that prior swing high, then look for the retracement to exceed the prior swing low, right? No matter what trade setup you're using, that's going to be the case. No matter what time frame, what trade setup, that's always going to be the case. That's the way the markets work. if you're a technical trader. If you're a fundamental trader, well, then you might have been selling right up here, or trying to sell right up here, and trying to buy right down here because you had some fundamental reason that said, there's earnings coming out right here and they're going to be bad, or there's earnings coming out down here and they're going to be good, or something like that, whatever the case may be. But for a technical trader, this right here is key, this stuff. And it doesn't matter what trade setup you're using or what time frame you're on, that's always going to be true. So I say all that to say this. If you go back here to our 7 range and we get rid of this thing right there, and we look at the trade setups that we get and that we don't get, or that we do and we don't do. When you get into a trade, it goes up, it comes down, it did not put in a lower swing, it showed weakness. So to get strength, you have to exceed that. It goes up, it showed strength. It goes up, it comes down, that showed strength. Showed strength because it stopped right here around 50% of the retracement of this leg up. So what do you expect? You expect another leg like this, that leg right there. You expect that to repeat right here, right? No matter what trade setup you're using, that's the same thing. So given what we do right now, where we're doing a lot of counter trend trades, you might have a trade right there going down, and a trade right here going up, and a trade right here going down, and a trade right here going up, and a trade right here going down, and a trade right here going up. Might even have another one right here going down, and right here going down, and right here going up. And you might even have one right in the middle of all this going down, right? You might have one right here going down, and one right here going back up. When you're trading counter trend and trend, that kind of stuff happens, right? We're not in here to trade 1,000 times. I mean, what I just drew in here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And I was just drawing random things, right? But if I turn everything on, I wouldn't be surprised if we get trades in half of those spots right there. If you're trading with the trend and counter trend. No, probably not half of them, but a few of them. See, there's a trade right here going long, a trade right here going long, a trade right here going long. So we had 3 of them, that one, and that one, right? And right here, if you were really careful about that, you could say that led into the overbought. So you could have shorted the open of this bar right here, right there, the open of that bar, drop down to there. You could have shorted the open of this bar that dropped down to there. Okay, you see how when you're looking at it in real time, this looks like it's up in the overbought by itself, and this is in the overbought by itself, right? So that's what it looks like in real time. When you don't have anything else on the side of it over there. Let me see if I have a blank thing here. When you don't have anything else over here on the side, that's what it looks like. Okay, so the blue kind of went up there by itself. The black was with it, so you might have skipped that one. But if you go over here, looking at the blue right there, the blue is clearly up there by itself. So you would have sold the open of the next bar right there. You would have sold that. This is the ES. It's only going to go 4 ticks into profit to get the stop to break even. That looks like it went 6 ticks right there. And then sliding it over, you don't have any other trades. You had that one right there, which was a long trade, the open of that bar. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because there was a question that came to me this morning. That's why I was looking to see who was in here, because Ronnie is usually in here, but he's not today. And he said he's getting a lot of break evens, and whenever there's a stop out, he gets the stop out, but he's not getting big runs today. The reason I'm saying this is because what you expect out of a trade doesn't change. What you know about the markets has not changed. Your entry point has changed. You got better entry points now. You got entry points going in both directions now. So you have more and better entry points. But everything else about the market is the same. None of that's changed. So when you get a move like this, you expect a retracement like this. 50%, right? That's what you expect out of a move. Goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down. If the leg up is bigger than the leg down, then the retracement should be bigger. right? I mean, if the leg up is bigger than the last leg up, then the retracement should be bigger. If the retracement is not bigger, that means you have a lot of momentum. And so you have to be careful about the legs up getting smaller. Okay, because that's when the trend stops. The legs down start to become bigger. You see what I mean? It doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it does matter. But taking our better entry, where before in one of these scenarios, right here, where price went up and it came back down, we would wait for it to start moving back up and enter in here instead of entering down here. We'd wait for it to move back up and finish that bar, and then we'd enter in here instead of down here. The difference between here and here is the goal for the day. Okay, so I just wanted to point all that out. Thought it was worth saying because the expectation hasn't changed. If you're entering here, the minimum that you expect is that it's going to get to the price swing high. The full thing that you expect is the whole leg length. Okay, if you're not getting that because you're managing your risk inappropriately, well, then you're managing your risk inappropriately. Okay, if you're getting every stop because you're taking every trade, well, that's going to happen. I had a bunch of stops today, not a bunch, but I had a few. And one, two. I had 2 stops, which isn't too much out of 17 trades. I guess it's not too bad. But does everybody see my point? I'm trying to make it as easy to see as possible. Anyway, trades. There's a short, should have been a short from right here at the open of this bar. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. So now we wait. Now we wait. We don't have any trade setups. Does anybody have any questions about any of this? Anybody? Anything? All right. Well, and we'll just give it some more time here. I haven't gone out to look at all these other things in the longest time, it seems like. Where Bitcoin is right now. Look at that. Bitcoin today is up a little bit, but it's been kind of hovering right around 100,000 here. Looks like a little below. It's good that that's the new benchmark. So I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. PWR. I really don't know what that is. And we'll go here to the 8th one. It's usually XRP. Okay, oops. So these are all kind of like earnings things, right? Is that what they represent? Oh, Powell testimony. Okay, it's news events. That's what they are. CPI and PPI coming out this week. All right. So XRP and this big move down here. I didn't see that. Interesting that it came right back from that. And I I drew all this stuff in way back here. Looks like, I don't think I drew it back there. I don't remember why I drew that in, but looking at the way things are right now, except for that leg right there, this is a 50% retracement of this move up, and this was a 50% retracement of this move up. So it's poised for a move up right here. Last time went down below here, it made a nice move up. If it gets back up above the ribbon right here, I would expect this to move up pretty good. That's what it looks like to me. Okay. Still no trades over here on these markets. Let's bump this down to a 31 range. You know, one of our guys today was trading a 31 range, and he was having a heck of a time with it, he said. But I just could not see it. There were so many winning trades with the 31 range, much better than the 50. Just winning trade after 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 winning trade, winning trade, winning trade. There's one. Finally, there's one. Winning trade, winning trade, winning trade. I just couldn't see it. All right, so we have just a little bit of information to work with here. Over here on the 31 range now. The blue is almost in the overbought by itself. The blue and black are in the oversold by themselves here. They're going down together here and they're up together there. So we really don't have anything yet. Okay. All right. I don't see anything there or there or there or there right now. Okay. So no questions from anybody. David W., how'd you do today? Graham, I have you on my list, Graham. I should move you to the top of the list.
No questions on YouTube.
Okay. All right. Well, we have 10 minutes left. Markets just aren't doing much right now, so we'll just wait.
Yeah, it's been a very quiet, sideways, compressed kind of day for the most part.
Yes. It sure has. But everybody understands all this stuff, right? All the leg lengths and all that. The stuff is always the same. It doesn't matter what you're using. It's just now we have better entries. Better and more entries. Here, there's a short right here. Finally. Hang on. I can't find my DOM. This is the ES, right? Yes. Okay. So the short right here, I just shorted it on the ES. Here it is. Ding. Shorted. All right, now the proper entry would have been right there at 90.25. Look at that, I got the perfect entry on that one, 90.25. Now this stop will go to break even after 4 ticks in profit, after this yellow gets right down to here at 89.25. Okay. When it gets down there, I will bump the stop to break even. There are 3 ways to move the stop to break even. One is to drag it. One is to do a right click and go to break even. And the other is to hit Control Z because I set that up. Now, I changed it during the break. I changed my my auto centering thing to Shift Z. So it's the same letter. It's just a different thing. Shift Z. See, that centers it. So I will show you in a second how to set that up. Okay, if you have CRHR, I'll show you how to set that up in a minute here. Once I'm done with this trade. Because sometimes it gets way out of whack. There is another way you can do it. I think you gotta go to Window and I don't know where it was. Chart. A reset scale. That's it right there. Shift Q is what they have. Reset scale. Well, Shift Z is what I have. I didn't even know that was there. Shift Q. Oh wait, I created that one too. Shift Q. Yeah, I created that one. I did know that was there. Okay, well, Shift Z is also good. But going to break even is Control Z, and I just did that. I just moved my stop to break even. And now I'll lock in 2 ticks. And what do we expect out of it? We've gotten what we expect, right? Already. So I'm going to lock in 6 ticks. No, 7. There, 8 ticks right now. I have 8 ticks locked in. That's $1,000 right there with 10 contracts. And there it is, 8 ticks. Now, what do you expect out of the trade? Look over here. What did it do? It didn't put in a higher swing right there, right? So it's possible it's going to put in a lower swing. If it doesn't put in a lower swing, it's chopping around in this range right here. You all see that, right? What to expect out of the trade. If it fails to put in a higher swing, then you look for it to put in a lower swing. If it fails to put in a lower swing, then you look for it to get back up here. All right? But trade it that way. Take the information that the market is giving you. This is what it's giving you right now. This is chop. This stuff works great in chop. Okay. I wish I had recorded that, but I didn't. Anyway, here we go. You know what? It's all out on YouTube, right, Dwayne? So we go in and piece that out of YouTube if you wanted to, I suppose. Go back to this thing. If you go to the actual time on the chart to 13:22.
If I can.
Yeah, 13:22, 13:23, something like that. 13:21. I don't know. You might. I don't know if you can, because then you'd have to make a copy of the whole thing, and I don't think you can do that. You have to make a copy of the whole thing and then take a piece out of it. I don't know that to let you do all that, but for right now, we just have to wait. It's 1:25 and a half, so we have 4.5 minutes left. Who knows? The trade. There could be an NQ trade coming up here. An NQ trade coming up here. Nothing there, nothing there, there, or there. All right. Well, we actually had to take the free trial again. Okay, if you haven't taken the free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com. Click on the purple button right here. Let me actually refresh this page and close that one and click on the purple button. When you do that, it's going to bring you to this page. All right, on this page, all we have to do is your name, your email, your phone number. Now, I need to say this because this happened over the weekend, or when I was trying to fly home on Saturday. If you do not have TradingView, then go here to trading platforms and watch this video, follow the instructions, and give us your TradingView login ID. All right. Don't give us the TradingView login ID you want to have. Give us the TradingView login ID you actually do have. All right. Because this weekend there was a guy who thought he had his TradingView ID all set up because he wanted to have that ID. And he just gave it to me and it wasn't set up in TradingView. And I kept going back and trying to get it in TradingView, sending him pictures that does not come up in TradingView. It does not come up in TradingView. You have to do that part before you give us your ID. You have to do the part where you actually create the ID. Okay? You can't give us the ID that you want to have. You have to give us the ID that is actually assigned to you.
Did you hover over your little icon there to show?
Yeah, if I hover over this, I actually have that in the screenshot. Where you hover over this thing right here, I see hover over that. It's in the screenshot, I have it.
That's the user ID.
That is it. That's what we need right there. I do literally have it. If I show you, let's see if I got that open right here. Here, it's one of my, hang on, I don't think that's right. No, that's not right. Okay. Where's my email? Here it is. I go on that and I go to layouts, templates, and you see this is it right there. Oops. Apparently that was when Mikhail had forgotten to give it to us. But this is it right here. That is what we need. When you hover over there, like Dwayne just said, you hover over that thing and give us that. Whatever you're logged in as, give us that. Okay. That will make all of our jobs easier. I just don't have it turned on, Michael. I turned it off for part of the lesson plan this morning. Oops. There, it's back on. Okay, this is a trade here on the Russell. I'm in it. It's not doing so well. Here it is. I think I got a pretty good entry on that, right? 98.2. I'm exactly the right entry. Both of these trades here had exactly the right entry. We made 8 ticks on the ES. So 8 ticks on the ES is $100. It's the equivalent of 20 ticks here on the Russell. So we'll see what happens. My stop is 25 ticks away. That is one good thing about the Sierra charts. Your stop always goes to the right place. Where it was always a question with the DT Pro charts, your stop would always get slipped into a different spot. With the Sierra charts, it always goes to the right place. The NQ's actually got a trade over there now too. Look at that. It's 131 though. We ran out of time. Okay. Well, the NQ's got a trade. The Russell's got a trade. They're both starting to work out right now. We only had one profitable trade that we were able to take in here with the ES. It was a nice trade. It was pretty easy to see, pretty easy to take. Both of these trades as well are easy to see and easy to take. I'm in them both. Neither one of them is in the money right now, but they both, actually the Russell's never really in the money. The NQ, I should have had my stop at break even. I think 69.25. No, I didn't have a great entry on that. If I had a better entry on it, my stop should have been a break even, but I didn't get that entry. Anyway, if you haven't taken a free trial, go here to mytradingiq.com and at the home page here, click the purple button, sign up for the trial. No credit card required. Just fill out this form when you get it. Okay. That's all we need. And with that, we can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne is ready.
Yep. Recap of the morning session.
Today, it took 9 minutes and 1 trade to get to $1,800.
Did you see that last question by Michael R?
Your 31 NQ has the black line leading. Your 31 NQ, I'm not even sure that is what I have going here, but let me just move this over and go back here. Your 30, that is a 31. Mine is not leading. I don't know what's going on with that, but mine is actually trailing right now on that trade.
Michael R, try shifting your, go to a 50 range and go back to the 31 range. And
yeah, I'll try it too. I'll do the same thing. I'll go from a 31 to a 27. You are right. The black line's leading on mine. Maybe I'm the one who needs to do that, because I just did it in mine. Mine showed the black line leading too there, Michael. Don't know what to say about that. But
okay, recap of the morning session.
Yeah, sorry. 9 minutes and 1 trade, $1,800.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we'll get this wrapped up. We left off with gold, which put in a new all-time historic high today. So, like all the markets last night, we had these gap lower open, continued lower, and then did an incredible recovery during the first 30-minute candle. And then we hit the long target, and then we made it all the way up to the next zone overhead at 2934/35. We hit the zone, resistance sent us back to support at the BBC. Support sends us to resistance, resistance sends us to support, support sends us to resistance. That's just how markets work. That's how price flows across all markets and all time frames. Whether it's futures, stocks, crypto, Forex, ETFs, doesn't matter. That's just how price flows. All right. Silver. This was the open on silver last night. Hit the BBC, resistance, sent us down to blue and climbing, support. Gave us a bullish cross right there. We get above the BBC. And we make a run right up to the long target. Okay. And then we trade above this bearish cross just a little bit. But it fails. Come back to the zone at 32.45.46. Sends us to resistance at 32.66/67. And has now sent us back to support at 32.45/46. And again, these are the zones that were published a week ago today. The new zones came out this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. All members have the new zones as of 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And once they're published, they're carved in stone for the entire week. Because these alerts were sent out last night, that's why you're seeing last week's zones. But on tomorrow's broadcast, you'll see this week's zones. So one last peek at the daily. Okay, price still trapped like it was at the beginning of the broadcast. Got red and falling resistance, and we're right up against it. We're slightly off the high of the day, but red and falling's potential resistance, and the support came in at the step line. For me 1 second. Okay. So, I got a tiny candle on the day. Where we close will be very important. If we manage to close See how on Friday we closed right at red and falling? If we manage to close above it today, then of course Friday's high is potential resistance. And then the next major resistance is way up here at 61.47/75. If price starts to fade as we go into the close, below the VBC, you've got potential support here. 60.23, 59.90. Right here, you've got the 24% fib retracement. And then you've got this low right here at 59.35.5. That is potential support. And as you learn how to read the chart, it's very easy to spot where the major areas of support and resistance are. Okay? No magic or voodoo. It's just reading the chart. Understanding, of course, what it tells you. To become a member, send an email to support@cfrn.net. In the subject line, put "I want to become a member." In the body of the email, put your name, your phone number. We're not going to call you, but we will send you a info pack that explains everything it means to become a passport holder. And there will be a link you can click to actually become a passport holder. 2 hours of live training every trading day. That's something 9 out of 10 new traders do not have. And that's why they fail. You need somebody to teach you how to do the job. Whether you want to be a baker, a banker, or a candlestick maker, you need somebody to teach you. I mean, that's just logical, right? On top of the 2 hours of group training each day, which is an interactive environment, you also have access to private one-on-one mentoring. The strategy you learn, the indicators you own as a passport holder are fluid across all markets, all time frames. You get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. Get the concierge trade alerts the second they're published each evening. Monday morning, you get the weekly trading zones at 6:15 a.m. Eastern. And you're able to attend the members only workshop every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are a member and you missed last week's workshop, Bert joined us for the second week in a row, and he gave us more great information on the StoneX platform, CQG. So if you haven't seen that, you probably want to take a look at it. Everything a trader needs, all under one roof, one low price. Plus you get the golden key that opens the private channels in Telegram. There's public, there's private, but once you become a passport holder, you got access to everything. Just send your email to support@cfrn.net. All right, good word for the day. Friday we talked about insecurity in leadership. Today, a phrase familiar to everyone. Just as I am. There's a tale, well, 1 Corinthians 15:10 says, "By the grace of God, I am what I am." Okay. There's a tale about a boy who comes home and doesn't know his mom is visiting with the pastor. He carries a dead rat in his hand. "Mom, you'll never guess what. There was a rat running around in the garage. I saw it, threw a stone, and hit it. Just lay there, so I went over and stamped on it. Then I picked it up and hurled it against the wall. Then he sees the pastor. Uh-oh. And if his mom's looks could kill, he knew he would be one dead kid. So, he holds the rat up and adds in a pious voice, and then the dear Lord called him home. That's the kind of talk people slip into when they want to hide their flaws and appear more spiritual. The old hymn, and I remember it good from when I was a child, "Just as I am, without one plea," is about taking off the mask and knowing that God loves you in spite of your problems. If there was a true Just As I Am church where people could bring their baggage and brokenness, if there was a group where everyone was loved and no one faked it, we couldn't make enough room for them inside the building. Paul acknowledged that sometimes he acted like Dr. Jekyll and other times like Mr. Hyde. He talked of the times when he wanted to do good, but evil took over. But he refused to throw in the towel because he realized he was a work in progress. 1 Corinthians 15:9. I do not even deserve to be called an apostle because I persecuted the church of God. But by the grace of God, I am what I am, and his grace to me was not without effect. And that's a good word for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.